Imagine the chill of a misty dawn breaking over the wooden palisades of Winchester, England's beating heart in the year 900. The air hangs heavy with the smoke of peat fires, and the distant toll of a church bell calls the faithful to prayer, a reminder that every breath is watched by an unforgiving God. In this world, survival isn't a choice. It's a grinding duty under kings, lords, and the ever-present threat of Viking raids. Step with me into the harsh reality of daily life here, where freedom bends to the will of hierarchy and heaven. The streets of Winchester twist like veins through a fortified burr, its defenses a legacy of King Alfred's vision to shield Wessex from invaders. Earthen ramparts topped with sharpened stakes encircle the town, patrolled by weary thanes in chainmail, their eyes scanning the horizon for longships on the Itchen River. Inside, the main thoroughfares are rutted tracks of mud and gravel, churned by ox carts and the trudging feet of serfs. Narrow alleys branch off into clusters of thatched hovels, where wattle and daub walls lean precariously, patched with whatever scraps the poor can scavenge. The royal quarter gleams with the King's Hall, a massive timber structure with carved beams depicting biblical scenes, its thatched roof sloping low to fend off winter gales. Nearby, the old minster stands as a stone sentinel, its arches a rare echo of Roman grandeur amid the sea of wood, drawing pilgrims who whisper prayers against the cold stone. Ordinary adults rise before the sun, their days dictated by the season's unyielding cycle. In spring, men and women toil in the surrounding fields, plowing furrows with wooden ards pulled by oxen, their backs bent under the weight of feudal oaths to their lord. Freedom of choice is a myth here. Most are bound as churls or thralls, tied to the land they till, paying rents in grain or labor. A bad harvest means starvation, and the fear of divine punishment looms large. A failed crop is seen as God's wrath for unspoken sins. Women spin wool by hearthlight, their hands raw from carding, while children herd geese or fetch water from polluted streams. The rigid hierarchy presses down. The king claims divine right, eldermen enforce his laws, and bishops wield spiritual authority that can excommunicate a soul into eternal torment. No one questions this order. To do so invites accusations of heresy or treason, both punishable by flogging or worse. Markets pulse with cautious energy in the open square near the minster, where traders haggle over salted fish from the coast or iron tools forged in smoky smithies. Stalls of rough-hewn wood display meager wares, coarse linen cloth, wooden bowls, and occasional luxuries like Frankish wine for the elite. The air thickens with the tang of unwashed bodies, animal dung, and baking barley bread, a constant assault on the senses that numbs the inhabitants to discomfort. Noise builds as the day wears on, the clang of hammers, the bleat of sheep driven to slaughter, and the murmur of gossip laced with warnings of omens. A leper begs at the edge, his bell announcing impurity, shunned by all lest they invite God's curse. Temples dominate the skyline, not grand cathedrals yet, but monastic complexes like the New Minster, founded by Edward the Elder, where monks chant in Latin, their voices a barrier between the laity and salvation. These stone edifices shape the town's rhythm, calling for matins at dawn and vespers at dusk, embedding faith into every hour. Living conditions bite with relentless cold, even in summer's fleeting warmth. Homes are dim, single-room affairs with earthen floors strewn with rushes that harbor fleas and vermin. Families huddle around central hearths for heat, the smoke stinging eyes and blackening lungs, as thatch roofs leak during endless rains. Winter turns this into a frozen ordeal. Rivers ice over, and food stores dwindle, forcing rationing of salted pork and dried peas. Uncertainty shadows every decision. Raids could strike without warning, disease sweeps through like divine judgment, and childbirth claims mothers with grim frequency. Architecture reinforces this isolation. High wooden fences divide plots, creating a closed world where neighbors spy through chinks, enforcing communal vigilance against sin. The bishop's palace, with its scriptorium producing illuminated manuscripts, reminds all that knowledge is the church's domain, not for common folk whose illiteracy binds them further to oral tales of saints and demons. As we wander deeper into the residential quarters, the density feels oppressive yet communal, with homes clustered for protection against wolves or outlaws. Extended families share spaces, grandparents recounting sagas of past kings to instill loyalty, while young men train with spears under a thane's watchful eye, preparing for furred service. Social bonds are forged in necessity. Alehouses offer rare respite, where mead flows and stories ward off the night's terrors. But excess invites sermons on gluttony. Religion isn't abstract, it's woven into survival. Crucifixes dangle from necks, and fast days are strictly observed, with fish replacing meat to atone for mortal frailties. The fear of hellfire drives confessions in the minster's shadows, where priests absolve sins for a tithe, perpetuating the cycle of duty and dread. Seasonal labor shifts the town's pulse. Autumn brings frantic harvests, with scythes swinging under leaden skies, grains threshed on communal floors amid chants to appease harvest spirits now Christianized as saints. Storage in pits or barns becomes a ritual of hope against famine. In this era, the world feels inescapably small. Trade routes are perilous, news travels by word of mouth, and horizons end at the Burr walls. Compared to today's global connectivity, this isolation bred a profound reliance on local lords and the church, where allegiance meant protection from chaos. Yet, ingenuity sparks in small ways. Blacksmiths innovate plows. Healers brew herbal remedies from monastery gardens, blending pagan lore with Christian blessings. Venturing to the outskirts, where the river meets the town, fisheries thrive, with weirs trapping eels, a staple that sustains through lean times. Boatmen ferry goods, their oars slicing water murky with waste, underscoring the filth that breeds plagues. The constant uncertainty manifests in fortifications, watchtowers manned round the clock, gates barred at nightfall. Hierarchy manifests visibly. Nobles ride horses caparisoned in dyed wool, while serfs walk barefoot, their status etched in every garment. Women's lives revolve around the hearth and loom, bearing children to bolster the workforce, their choices limited to obedience or spinsterhood in a nunnery. Faith's dominance peaks in festivals, like Easter processions winding through streets, candles flickering against the gloom, uniting the town in ecstatic fear of Judgment Day. Monks from the minster educate the elite sons, preserving Latin texts that glorify kings as God's anointed, reinforcing the unyielding order. Daily rituals, blessing tools before work, crossing oneself at thunder, imbue ordinary acts with cosmic weight. Cold seeps into bones during vigils, where penance means kneeling on stone floors, a physical echo of spiritual submission. In quieter moments, by the flickering rushlight, families share tales of Alfred's victories, fostering a fragile pride amid hardship. Yet the era's realism strips away romance. No knights in shining armor, just mud-splattered warriors. No fairy tale castles, but timber halls echoing with drafts. This closed medieval world molds resilient souls, bound by duty to endure what fate and God decrees. As evening falls, the town quiets under a starlit sky, unpolluted by modern lights, hearths glowing like embers of hope. Guards call the hours, a rhythmic assurance against the unknown. Life here is a tapestry of survival, where every thread, faith, labor, hierarchy, weaves an existence far removed from imagination's gloss. In 900 England, ordinary adults navigated this grounded reality, their world a testament to human tenacity in the face of unrelenting adversity.